Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about summer luxury bags. I have been meaning to film this video for a while. I actually meant to film it last year and I just never got around to it. So I really wanted to try and do it this year. And it's basically a big review of some of my favorite summer bag styles. This is a mix of style types. So I have everything from larger totes in here to smaller crossbodies and clutches. But what they all have in common is that kind of summer vibe, whether it's the material or the color. I just think they're all very appropriate for summer, and I'm basically going to go through my pros and my cons and give you my general thoughts about the bag. So I hope you guys enjoy this and let's get started. I did want to do a quick note about the ranking because I am ranking these from my favorite to my least favorite, but I would say that even my least favorite I do really like. I recently did a big clear out of all my bags and none of these bags made the cut because I do still really enjoy them, but I try to be as objective as I could be in terms of evaluating, you know, the quality, the value for money, functionality, all those different elements. I definitely do still have my favorites within my favorites, but I did just want to make that point that even my least favorites I do still really like a lot. So first up, coming in at number one, my absolute favorite summer style at the moment is my Chloe Mini Marcie, and for me this bag really just shows that you've got to pick the right color to work for you. I've owned this bag for a few years now. I do have my brown one which I really liked, but I didn't love it. So I did to go for the blue one and it's now just my favorite thing. I wear it all the time. It's the bag that I'm using at the moment. I've not wanted to switch out of it. It's really functional. I love the color. I feel like it goes with absolutely everything. And it's just the most wonderful bag. So I would say if you really like a bag but you haven't gone along with the color choice that you went for, don't automatically dismiss it because it could just be a simple matter of switching out the color like it was with me. And it went from a bag which I reach for on occasion to a bag that I cannot get enough of, and that is absolutely what happened here. The colour is a really pretty light blue. You do have the fastening at the front, which to be honest I never actually use, but the capacity is very decent for a mini bag. And what I really love about it is it kind of just embodies that really easy breezy summer style. You know, it's a very traditional satchel style. It's just kind of sling it on your shoulder and go. You can obviously wear it crossbody too, fully adjustable strap. But you don't have to worry about it. You know, it is definitely a luxury bag, but it isn't thousands and thousands of pounds. The leather is beautiful quality. It feels very robust and sturdy and low maintenance in general. And for me, this is just kind of what summer is about. You know, I don't want to be too fussy when it's really warm outside. I just want my accessories to be functional and cute and just do the job and kind of go with all my outfits, and that's exactly what this does. On the inside it's really plain and simple. There are no compartments. You can actually fit a very decent amount inside. You do have that pocket right there on the back, which to be honest is so small that I don't use it for anything. The pocket on the front though is a decent size, so you can use it for, you know, notes or cards, whatever you want to put in there. I mainly just use the large compartment, and it's big enough that I can fit in everything that I would want, from a small wallet to my sunglasses, lipstick, phone, AirPods, all that kind of stuff. But it's not so big that I feel like I'm rummaging around forever and losing my items all the time. It's just kind of the perfect size. And I just think it's fantastic. It is a classic style at this point. I think, you know, it's nothing new. It's been around for years, but I think it's become enduringly popular for a reason. You know, sometimes you can't go wrong with a good old classic. And for me, this is exactly what that is. And this blue color just totally stole my heart. I do think it's a fantastic summer choice. Next up, and coming in at number two, is my Chloe Woody Tote, and I didn't really think I'd be doing a ranking anytime soon where Chloe took up two of my favorite spots, but I feel like they've nailed it with the summer styles. And I'm only going to go over this one quickly because I did talk quite a bit about it in my best value bags, but I do think it's a fantastic value bag. I also think it's just now a quintessential summer style, which is quite rare in the sense that it is very summer ready, and I think it makes for a perfect summer bag. But I also don't think it looks out of place in autumn winter either. I guess because it has some darker trim details as well. And that's quite a difficult balance to get right. Like, I don't really anticipate using my Chloe Mini Marcie too much in winter, whereas I know I used this last winter and it did just fine. And it is kind of an all year round bag, which still works very, very well for summer as well. The wear and tear, which I showed the other day, is absolutely fantastic. I mentioned then, but the only really kind of noticeable wear and tear I can see on this bag, and I've used this a lot, is 2 dirty marks right there, which to be honest, probably my fault. I have not babied this bag in the slightest. I just kind of used it as I've wanted to, you know, I've not given it a second thought. I've taken this on planes as my carry-on. I have used it as a day bag. I've used it as an errand running bag, an everyday tote. The structure has done very, very well. It's still very rigid, no sagging at all, and that was a question I got a couple of times. If you put a laptop in here, does the base sag? And it really doesn't. Like, the base, even though it isn't rock hard, it actually has a fair amount of structure. So if it does sag, I certainly didn't notice it, and I have popped my laptop in here as well as everything else when I've used it as a carry-on. And you know, if it did sag, it certainly didn't create any lasting damage at all because the structure is just still immaculate. So it kind of ticks every single box for me, you know. It's extremely versatile, it fits a ton, it's very, very comfortable to wear both on the shoulder and also handheld. The structure is great, the wear and tear is wonderful, and I don't think that the price point is too bad either. You know, you can often get these on sale. They come in a smaller size as well if you find the size a little bit overwhelming. And if you're looking for a nice summer tote, which is also versatile enough to wear in other seasons as well, I don't think you do better than this. So huge, huge fan of it, would absolutely recommend to anyone. I am still loving mine to bits. Next up is my Louis Vuitton Alma BB, and I feel like I'm kind of cheating with ranking this so high because I've not had it a huge amount of time, so it's a little bit unfair in terms of, you know, the wear and tear aspect. I obviously can't comment too much on that, but I had to rank it this high because I just love it so much. I've been using it a fair few times since I got it. It's still very, very new to me though. But I just adore it. Like, I love the colorway so much. I feel like LV nailed it in terms of really having that really lovely summer ready damier azur, whilst also making it way more practical with the leather trim as opposed to the vachetta. Vachetta is great, but obviously it does darken, it does stain, whereas this is so much more carefree. The detailing on it is beautiful. You know, you do have the feet there to protect the base. And I love the little extra added details like the braid with just like the touch of pink. It's so elegant and pretty, and I was already familiar with the style, so I knew I liked kind of how it wore. Very, very easy to wear indeed. You know, you can just wear it on the top handle, you can also just pop it on your shoulder, you can wear it as a crossbody, and it's another one of those bags, much like my Gucci Mini Diana, where it really is suited to wearing all three ways with a lot of ease and elegance. Sometimes some bags you kind of can make it work, but it's not really suited for that. Whereas with this bag, you get the sense that any which way you want to wear it, it just works really perfectly and really seamlessly. The zips are very, very smooth. I always think that's a hallmark of LV bags, that they do very nice, very high quality zippers. And because it does open up so much, you have that little expandable bit right there, you can fit a very, very decent amount in. No dividers or compartments either, so the capacity is fully available for you to use. If you wanted to pack it full, it really does pack a punch in terms of just how much you can fit inside. Like, it always surprises me, but it's a little bit of a Mary Poppins bag, even though it is very, very dinky and small in size. And you do have that little pocket right there at the back if you want it as well. So I have just been loving this to bits so, so much. And I'd say that this is a really nice choice if you wanted your bag to still be a little bit dressy. I don't think that you would only wear this for summer at all. You can definitely wear this in every season, I think. I think winter whites are just beautiful, and I wear my white bags all the time, even when it's very cold. But it definitely does have a slightly more dressy feel, I think, really because of all the hardware. It's just a very elegant looking bag. So if you wanted a bag that was just a little bit smarter, which was great for summer, you could also wear for other seasons as well. I definitely think this is worth a look. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm so happy with my purchase, and I think it is a stunning, stunning bag. Next up is my Fendi Raffia pouch, and I don't actually think this one is available anymore. I got it a few years ago, but regardless of whether you track this one down, you go for a different luxury pouch, or you go for a more affordable raffia version from the high street, I do think that a simple raffia pouch can be a fantastic addition to anyone's bag collection. Again, especially if you wanted to go more affordable, I definitely think you can do without sacrificing too much in terms of this style of bag. but I found mine incredibly useful, and I kind of surprised myself. You know, I got it mainly because I fell in love with the overall look, but it's become one of my most used summer styles. I use it all the time. It's really just so ideal in terms of how easy it is to pair with everything. I'm very much helped by the fact that it is that natural raffia. So it does just seem to go with every single outfit. Very, very easy breezy and just so simple to pair. The maintenance on it has been great as well, and I have taken this on holiday with me. I've used it for countless lunches and dinners and drinks out, and I'm sure things have spilt on it. I can't see anything wrong with it, and I was definitely concerned about whether, you know, there would be pulling and snagging on the raffia, but there really hasn't been at all. It's been surprisingly very, very robust, and I'm not sure if that's just, you know, the Fendi quality, but I imagine you can find some of the quality for a lot less. I certainly overpaid for this because it's essentially just a very simple raffia clutch. You have the Fendi right there on the front. It is, it's got that leather trim, but that's pretty much it. On the inside, it's unlined as well. So it is very, very simple indeed. The size is pretty big though, which I do also really love. So I'd say if you are looking at one, then definitely see if they do have slightly larger ones available, because I just find the size so incredibly useful. I can fit in all my essentials. You know, sometimes Dan will give me something to put in here, and it's really not an issue because it's actually quite huge. And I just love this thing. So unbelievably useful. I don't have to think about it. You know, as I said, if I'm rushing out for a dinner date with Dan or whatever it is I'm doing, I know this is going to match. I know it's going to be so easy to use, and I just think it's fantastic. So would definitely recommend something like this. Doesn't matter again whether you want to go for a super high-end version or a more affordable version. I just think that the simplicity of the raffia and the pouch style really works for summer, and I really, really enjoyed mine. Next up, my Saint Laurent wristlet, and I'm only going to go over this one quickly because I feel like it makes pretty much every single video of mine, whether I'm covering white bags or best value bags like Vuitton chains. I always talk about this bag, but it is genuinely one of my favorites. I just love it to bits. The white colorway is fantastic. It goes with everything because it is white. I also use this in winter as well though. It is a wristlet. Again, I broke mine on my travels, but I am planning on getting it fixed. But it just opens up very, very simply. I do think it's pretty good value for money. You know, their wallet on chains do run for a lot more, and this does everything that those bags do. The quality is very nice. It's not as kind of impeccably made as their wallet on chain styles, but really the most I notice is the weight. And I'm not always a fan of extra weight on bags, particularly when it comes to the summer months. I want my bags to be light and easy to wear and fuss-free, and this pretty much is all of those things. It's also surprisingly easy to maintain, even in the white color. I have spilt ketchup and cocktails and everything on this bag, and I mean, I'll do close-ups, but there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it looks absolutely pristine. It really does just go and go. Goes with absolutely everything, and I just can't rave about it enough. So this to me is just an eternal favorite. I never get tired of it. I just think it is absolutely wonderful, great value, and just such an ideal summer bag that is also good for all year round. Next up is my Stella McCartney Falabella bag, and this is another one that is a bit newer to me. I got it this summer, but I have really been enjoying it. It is absolutely beautiful, and I think, to be fair, a lot of it does come down to how much I like the look, because I think it's just adorable. I love the color combination I got. I think the dusky rose is beautiful, and I think it really goes very, very well with the shiny gold hardware. But the detailing on it is really stunning, and I feel like Stella McCartney bags are kind of underrated for that, because everything from, you know, the little emblem right there with the Stella McCartney logo to how strong the magnetic closure is, the hardware in general is just stunning, and it's just a very well thought out little bag. I think it really, really is beautiful. You're not getting leather, obviously. I don't believe she uses leather in any of her bags, but I don't get the sense that I'm getting any less quality. It feels like just as much care and attention has been put into this style, and I think it's a really lovely one. And this one comes in a few different colors. I think I've seen the cream and the blue and maybe one other color. So they do a few different varieties. They also do a ton of different sizes as well. This is the smallest size they do, I believe. but it's still big enough to fit in your essentials. You put in your phone and just anything that you might need, as long as you can pare down your items. You can also wear it on the shoulder, you can wear it crossbody, and you also have those little top handles as well. Everything is very floppy though, and that is one thing I would say. Like the Alma BB is very structured, the handles sit up if you want them to. That is not true of this bag. So it is more of a relaxed style, and I don't feel like it's as relaxed as the Chloe Mini Marcie, which is very kind of easygoing, you know, it's just a simple satchel style. So I'd say this is a bit more in between. You know, it is dressed up with the hardware, but at the same time it is a little bit kind of looser and more easygoing than the super structured Alma BB. I can't speak too much about the wear and tear just because I've not had it for too long, but I would say that I've had my other Stella McCartney bag for a lot longer. I've had that for a little bit more than a year now, I think. And that one's done just great, like surprisingly well. Again, I had that concern that the raffia would kind of snag and pull, and that's not been the case with my first Stella McCartney bag at all. So I'm hoping the same is going to be true of this one. Certainly I've not noticed anything about it to date. And I just think it's a lovely style. If you don't wear leather, then obviously it's a wonderful choice for that reason. But even if you do, I think it's a stunning bag. The detailing on it is beautiful, and it's a really, really elegant, a little bit more unusual summer style. Next up is the Chanel crossbody that I got, and I believe this one is called the Melody. I wasn't actually familiar with the style name before, I just saw it in the boutique and loved it, but when I showed it, a bunch of you commented that it was called the Melody, and it's this really, really simple crossbody style, I guess. So it has this double chain effect which kind of goes into a single chunkier chain. You have a leather strap right at the top there. There is no pocket on the back, and then it does have the classic CC turn lock, and it just pops open like so. And on the inside you have a fabric lining with the zip pocket right there at the back. And I did get this one as kind of an alternative, I don't want to say a replacement, but an alternative to my classic white flap, which I also still have from Chanel, but obviously that is a very, very expensive bag. I have had some unfortunate experiences with color transfer on it, and so I'm just a little bit more wary of wearing that, and I wanted something very similar that I'd be able to wear, which didn't cost quite as many thousands to replace if something happened to it. So I saw this and I just loved how it was a slightly more casual version. I really like the fact that you can wear it crossbody, and so I decided to go for it. I'd say this one is a little bit of a mixed bag, and I've tried to be really objective about it because I do think it's beautiful and I really, really enjoy the look. I like how it wears, and I find it to be a very, very comfortable bag in general. But if I'm being really, really honest, and I am directly comparing it to the Chanel Classic Flap here, but you can definitely tell a quality difference. Like even in terms of just feeling the bag, it doesn't feel flimsy, but whereas when you feel the classic flap, it feels very structured and substantial. And even though I know a lot of people complain about quality issues, when it comes to their classic flaps, I've never experienced any quality issues. Every single one I've ever had, and that's going back 10 years now, has always been impeccably made. Like the stitching has always been great, the structure has always been rock solid, and they are just very, very sturdy bags which are built to last. When I compare it to this though, this bag really does feel a little bit flimsy in comparison, and maybe it's unfair to compare it directly because, you know, the classic flap is more than double the cost of this one, but at the same time this still cost an absolute fortune. It was over £3,000, and I don't want to give Chanel a free pass here just because it's cheaper than the other really extortionately priced bags. Any other luxury brand, and this would be, you know, right at the top in terms of the price level, and you'd expect the absolute best quality. And this isn't like bad quality, it's just when you compare it to something like the classic flap, it feels a lot flimsier. Like even on the back, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it kind of bows a little bit in the middle. I've not used this extensively at all, and I don't think it's gone particularly worse. I just don't think it was super structured to begin with. On the inside, you know, it's absolutely fine in terms of the capacity, but obviously you have a fabric lining, so it's not lined in leather, and the opening and just the general kind of feel of the bag, it just feels like a much cheaper bag. And I do like it, you know, I like the overall vibes, I like the functionality, I like how easy it is to wear, but I can't say with all honesty that I would rank it particularly highly, just because I don't think it's particularly good value for money, and I don't think that the classic flaps are particularly good value for money anymore, but at least you are getting a really, really classic style which you know is going to be, you'd hope pretty much indestructible and just remain classic for many years, whereas this one, it definitely feels like a cheaper version of their classic flap where you're still paying a lot of money but without all the things that kind of make the classic flap so amazing. So it's a mixed one. I do really like it. I've been enjoying using it. I don't want to, you know, give you guys the impression that I haven't been, but I'd say in terms of the overall bag market, there are better value for money options out there than this one. And then last but not least, my Chanel Deauville tote, and I feel bad ranking this one last, and it's not because I don't love it, because I do. I think it's absolutely beautiful, but in terms of cost per wear and functionality, it's just not as strong as some of the other bags I have. I don't use this even nearly as much, and a large part of that is to do with the stupid combination I got it in. I understand that I went for a very, very delicate color combination, and that obviously does impact the usage and how much I am willing to use it. I really am only happy to take this out if I know that the environment isn't going to be too rough and ready, if I'm going to have clean places to put it down, and if generally I'm not going to see too much wear and tear on it, which overall isn't really what I look for in a summer bag. As I mentioned with my Chloe Woody tote, you know, I really value bags which are very luxurious and look great, but which are very, very easy to wear and just fuss-free and low maintenance. I'm not going to have to stress about them. You know, summer can be a sticky time. It's hot and, you know, there are ice creams and drinks and all that kind of stuff. So overly delicate bags aren't really the ones to go for in my experience, and that's very much kind of represented in this style, which I do think is beautiful, but as I said, it's very delicate. It does mark pretty easily, and I just don't get the cost per out of it as a result. I would also say this one is fairly heavy considering it is mainly a canvas tote. I'm not fully sure where the weight comes from, if I'm honest. It does have the leather trim, but it's surprisingly heavy to me. I wouldn't have thought that it would be. And when I compare this one to the smaller one, so I also owned the smaller Deauville tote, which doesn't have the top handles, but it does have the longer straps. I do think that one is a better size. It's still plenty big enough, you know, I can't imagine there are many things that you wouldn't be able to fit in that, but it's just a little bit more manageable, and this one is really quite huge indeed, and it's generally just a more comfortable fit and bag. This one is really quite huge. Like, I've never even come close to filling this full. I imagine it was intended as a beach bag, but to be honest, I would never even dream of taking this to the beach. It's far too expensive. But because of the size, it is also limited in its usefulness as well. So if I had to recommend a Deauville style, it would certainly be the smaller one. I definitely got along with that one a lot more. I love the combination to bits, but it's very limited because of all the reasons I stated, you know, from the size, the capacity, the colorway. I just don't get as much use out of it as the others, and for the price, I just think that there are better value options out there. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. As usual, I will include links to everything I can in the description section below. If you have any questions for me, if I missed anything out, then leave me a comment. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, please do give this a thumbs up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.